Ethan closed his eyes, exhausted after a long day of work. The city outside his small apartment hummed quietly, lights blinking like tiny stars against the dark sky. He had lived a simple life, ordinary in every sense: wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, and repeat. Tonight, he was looking forward to nothing but sleep. When he opened his eyes again, the world had changed completely. The first thing he noticed was the light. It wasn't like sunlight or street lamps. It glowed softly, shifting in color like a living rainbow. His small, familiar bedroom was gone. Instead, he was lying on a smooth, cold surface that seemed to pulse beneath him. The air smelled faintly sweet and metallic, and the sound of soft music, unfamiliar and hauntingly beautiful, filled the room. He sat up, blinking rapidly, trying to understand what had happened. The walls were high and curved, made of some strange, crystal-like material that reflected light in all directions. Strange plants with translucent leaves swayed gently in the air, even though there was no wind. His heart pounded. He had no idea where he was. "Hello," a calm voice said. Ethan froze. The voice came from somewhere nearby, but there was no one in sight. "Do not be afraid." Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. Where am I?" he asked, his voice trembling. "You are on Orlaia," one of them replied, bowing slightly. "You are in the palace of Queen Ziara." I'm just a normal human." Strange crystals hung from above, casting soft patterns of light on the floor. Ethan felt tiny in the space, overwhelmed by the sheer scale and beauty of the place. And then he saw her. She stood at the far end of the hall, her presence commanding yet gentle. Queen Ziara. Ethan had never seen anyone or anything like her. Her form was humanoid, but her skin shimmered like polished silver and her eyes glowed like twin moons. She wore a long, flowing robe that seemed to ripple like water, and every movement she made carried authority and grace. "Ethan," she said, her voice melodic and soothing. "Do not be afraid. You are safe here." "Why am I here? Why me?" "I'm just me. I don't even." It was firm, yes, but also patient. Slowly, reluctantly, he allowed himself to follow the attendants deeper into the palace. The corridors were unlike anything he had ever seen. Walls shimmered, changing colors in subtle patterns. Floors were smooth but gave a faint sensation of warmth and comfort. Plants that seemed alive grew along the edges, their leaves glowing softly. Occasionally, he saw other aliens, walking with purpose, their forms diverse but all radiating intelligence and calm. None seemed hostile. Some glanced at him with curiosity, as if they were observing a rare specimen. At the end of the corridor, he was brought to a room that resembled a human bedroom in size but not in design. A large bed floated slightly above the ground, its surface soft yet firm. Light poured from unseen sources, giving the room a serene glow. Ethan sank onto the bed, exhausted from the shock and the sheer strangeness of everything. "You may rest now," an attendant said, bowing. "When the queen comes, she will speak to you." Or was this some elaborate hallucination brought on by stress? He pinched himself. It hurt. This was real, somehow impossibly real. Hours seemed to pass. He drifted in and out of sleep, every time waking to the same glowing room, the same soft humming in the air. Finally, a gentle knock sounded, though there was no door. He turned, and Ziara entered. She sat on the edge of the floating bed, her presence calm and reassuring. "You have questions," she said, as if reading his mind. Ethan nodded. "Yes, too many questions. First, why me? Second, why marriage? Third, what is this place?" Curiosity, courage, the ability to think beyond limits. Our society has lived in harmony for centuries, but we are about to face challenges that require more than what we have. You, Ethan, are part of that solution. It is an honor for you as it is for me. Together, we can unite humans and Aurelians for the good of all. The air shimmered faintly where their hands were close. "You will learn and you will grow. I am patient. You will not be forced into anything you cannot handle. For now, rest. Tomorrow, we begin your journey." Despite the fear, Ethan felt a flicker of curiosity. Perhaps this was not a nightmare. Perhaps this was the beginning of something he could never have imagined. Sleep claimed him again, and in that sleep he dreamed not of Earth, but of stars, strange landscapes, and voices calling him to a purpose he did not yet understand. The next morning, when he awoke, Ziara was there again, smiling. "Good morning, Ethan. Today you will see more of Orlaia. You will meet its people, its technology, and its wonders. You may begin to understand why you are here. Your lessons begin now." They arrived at a balcony overlooking a vast landscape. Golden rivers flowed through valleys and floating islands hovered above them. The sky shimmered with colors he had no names for. It was breathtaking. This is Oralia, Ziara said softly. It is our home. It is more than beauty, though. It is our philosophy made real. Harmony, balance, and knowledge guide every decision we make here. Do not be afraid, Ethan. You are not alone, and one day you may understand why you were brought here. Ethan woke to the soft glow of Oralia's light filtering into his chamber. The colors shifted slowly across the walls, painting the room in patterns that seemed almost alive. For a moment, he remembered nothing but the warmth of the bed and the strange beauty of the night before. Then it all came back, the palace, the aliens, Queen Ziara, and the overwhelming truth that he was now married to her. He sat up slowly, letting the new reality sink in. It was still unbelievable. Even after a night of sleep, Oralia's strangeness did not fade. He rubbed his eyes and swung his legs over the edge of the floating bed, trying to focus. He could hear soft footsteps approaching. "Good morning, Ethan," Queen Ziara said as she entered, her silver skin glowing gently in the light. She smiled at him, not with a sense of superiority, but with genuine warmth. "Today, you will begin to learn about our world, our people, and what it means to be here with me. I feel like I'm drowning in all of this." The sky was not blue, but a deep swirling mix of purple and gold, dotted with floating islands. Rivers of liquid light snaked through green valleys, and strange creatures flew gracefully between the hovering islands. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. He could feel a strange thrill of excitement mixed with awe. "It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Our society is built on harmony, knowledge, and cooperation. Every structure, every system, every being contributes to the whole. You will see more as we walk through the city. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully, their skin shimmering in shades of silver, gold, and soft blue. Some were humanoid like Ziara, while others had wings, extra limbs, or forms that defied any earthly comparison. Yet none seemed threatening. All carried an air of purpose and calm. Ethan tried to take it all in. "Do you live in peace all the time?" he asked. "It feels so calm. So organized." The streets were smooth and soft beneath his feet, yet strong enough to carry heavy transport vehicles. Holographic signs floated in the air, displaying information in a language he could not read, yet somehow he felt the meaning intuitively. Small robotic helpers attended to the environment, tending gardens, cleaning surfaces, and maintaining order without ever intruding. "Everything seems alive here," Ethan said. "Even the buildings, the streets, they feel aware. Your kind offers something different, something we cannot replicate." Valuable to an entire alien civilization, it seemed impossible, yet the respect in Ziara's tone made it feel real. They approached a central plaza where a crowd of Aurelians had gathered. In the center, a device hovered, projecting a holographic map of Oralia's orbit and nearby space. Ziara gestured toward it. "This is our council chamber," she said. "You will meet many of our leaders here. They will explain our technologies, our customs, and our responsibilities. Observation is your first lesson. Participation will come later. You control it." Hi," he said, waving awkwardly. One of them, a being with translucent wings and shimmering blue skin, stepped forward. "Welcome, human. I am Leora, chief engineer of Oralia. I have heard of your arrival. You will find our systems fascinating. You will learn, and your human creativity may surprise even us. Ziara speaks truly. Your presence here is meaningful." He ran forward, waving his hands to guide the drone away from the crowd, then quickly grabbed a nearby control panel and manually stabilized it. Ziara watched quietly, a faint smile on her face. The crowd of Aurelians cheered softly, not in loud celebration, but in a respectful acknowledgement of his quick thinking. "You handled that well," Ziara said, her eyes meeting his. "You see patterns and act. That is human intuition, and it is valuable." Afterward, Ziara took him to a learning chamber, a circular room filled with holographic displays, alien tools, and complex devices. Leora and her team demonstrated the systems, explaining how energy flowed, how space travel was coordinated, and how Aurelians maintained harmony across the planet. Ethan tried to follow along, sometimes failing spectacularly, but Ziara encouraged him patiently. "You learn by doing," she said. "Mistakes are not failures here, they are steps toward understanding." It was unlike any garden he had ever seen. Plants floated in midair, forming arches and spirals. Flowers glowed softly, responding to touch. Water flowed upward in twisting streams, defying gravity yet appearing perfectly natural. "This is one of my favorite places," Ziara said, motioning for him to sit on a floating bench. "Here you may rest, reflect, and ask questions." Oralia is not merely a place of technology. It is a place of thought, of wonder, of growth. And because you possess the qualities our world needs, courage, imagination, empathy, and the ability to change the course of events. Our kind has lived for centuries in harmony, but we sometimes lack the unpredictability that sparks innovation. You provide that. Perhaps he had been chosen for a reason. Perhaps against all odds he had a role to play in this magnificent world. The day ended with a quiet dinner in a floating dining hall. Food was arranged in glowing bowls, fragrant and colorful. Ethan tasted new flavors, some sweet, some tangy, some he could not name, but all delicious. Ziara watched him with curiosity, smiling softly whenever he reacted to the food. "You adapt quickly," she said. "I am impressed." Remember that. Maybe humanity had a chance in a galaxy that had always seemed so distant. And maybe, by being himself, creative, unpredictable, and courageous, he could truly matter. Ethan closed his eyes, the soft glow of Oralia's night filling the chamber. He was not just a visitor anymore. He was part of something larger, something incredible, something extraordinary. And for the first time since waking in that strange palace, he looked forward to what tomorrow might bring. The morning sun, or whatever Oralia called its sun, spread a soft golden light across the city, bathing the floating islands and rivers of liquid light in a warm glow. Ethan woke with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Yesterday had been extraordinary, and today promised even more. He stretched, noticing a subtle confidence settling within him. He was beginning to feel at home. Ziara was waiting for him in the chamber, as usual. Her presence was calm but commanding, and today her expression carried a hint of seriousness. "Good morning, Ethan. Today, you will see a challenge that requires both your human perspective and your growing understanding of our ways." Ethan followed her gaze and froze. Far beyond Oralia's safe zone, a dark mass moved through space. At first, it was just a shadow, but then he could see vessels, large, jagged, and black, moving with precise coordination. "Enemy ships," Ziara said softly. "They approach our planet. We do not yet know their intentions, but their presence is dangerous." Like invading. He had never led or commanded anything in his life, and now he was expected to help protect an entire planet. The weight of it pressed down on him, but he also felt a spark of determination. He could not run from this. Somehow, he had been brought here for a reason. Ziara guided him into the command chamber. Oralia's council members were already there. Leora, the chief engineer, a tall being with wings named Thalen, head of defense, and several others whose expressions mixed curiosity and caution. They all turned to Ethan as he entered. "This is Ethan," Ziara introduced. "He is human. His insight may help us see solutions we cannot find alone." One, a being with crystalline limbs, spoke first. "A human? What can a single human do against a fleet of hostile ships?" "Maybe I can help in ways you haven't tried." Ziara and her council began discussing strategies, suggesting force fields, energy shields, and fleet maneuvers. Ethan watched, taking in the complexity. The Aurelians were brilliant, but their plans felt rigid, predictable. He hesitated, then spoke. "What if you don't try to match them directly? What if you use, I don't know, a distraction, something unexpected that they wouldn't predict? While they are distracted, we could reposition our defenses, maybe even disable a few key ships with targeted energy bursts. They would never anticipate it. They are human strengths. Let us test your idea." Slowly, the Aurelians began to see the value in his ideas. When the simulation ended, the results were clear. Ethan's strategy had significantly reduced potential damage and created opportunities the Aurelians had not considered. The council members exchanged impressed glances, nodding in acknowledgement. "You have done well," Ziara said, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. "Your intuition, combined with our technology, has opened possibilities we did not see before." The floating plants glowed softly, and water flowed upward in twisting streams. Ethan needed the calm after the intensity of the simulations. He walked slowly, letting the serenity of the garden wash over him. "You handled yourself well today," Ziara said. "Do you understand why your presence matters? You need human creativity, unpredictability, and maybe someone who sees things differently. I didn't feel like I mattered before, but here, maybe I do." Leora showed him how Oralia's energy systems worked, how to manipulate fields of power, and how to coordinate with their automated defense units. Ethan struggled at first, but his persistence paid off. Every time he solved a problem, no matter how small, Ziara and the council acknowledged it with genuine respect. By evening, Ethan and Ziara returned to the balcony overlooking Oralia. The enemy fleet had not yet arrived, but the tension in the air was palpable. Ethan's thoughts raced. He had never imagined he would be in this position, standing beside an alien queen, preparing for a threat that could destroy an entire planet. And yet, for the first time, he did not feel helpless. "Tomorrow they will arrive," Ziara said quietly. "Are you ready?" I think so. I don't know everything, but I know I can help. And I want to help. I want to do whatever it takes to protect this place and all of you. Your courage and creativity will be tested, but I have faith in you." The thought was almost overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Sleep came slowly, but in his dreams, Ethan saw glimpses of the approaching threat. Dark ships moving silently through the void, alien figures planning and coordinating. And alongside them, he saw himself, thinking, reacting, solving problems in ways the enemy could not predict. For the first time, he did not feel afraid. He felt prepared. The next morning, Oralia's skies were alive with movement. Ethan and Ziara stood in the command chamber, watching as the dark fleet drew closer. Energy shields shimmered around the planet, defense units moved into position, and the Council worked tirelessly to ensure every system was ready. Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. This was real. The fate of Oralia and perhaps more rested in their hands. He glanced at Ziara, who gave him a small nod of encouragement. Her trust in him was clear. As the first enemy ships entered the outer orbit, Ethan's mind raced. He remembered the simulations, the strategies they had tested, and the unpredictable tactics that only humans could devise. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Now," he said firmly, "we do what we practiced. We use unpredictability, decoys, and timing. We make them think they understand us, and then we show them they don't." The screens displayed energy fields, ship positions, and fleet movements. Every decision mattered, every choice counted. And for the first time, he felt completely alive, fully present in a role that mattered not just to him, but to an entire world. The enemy was close. The moment of truth had arrived. And Ethan, the human who had woken up alone in a palace yesterday, was ready to rise. The morning on Oralia was bright and golden, but the calm beauty of the planet was deceiving. Dark shadows moved in the distance, the enemy fleet approaching faster than anyone had expected. Ethan stood beside Queen Ziara in the command chamber, his hands hovering over the holographic controls. His heart pounded, but a strange clarity settled over him. This was it, the moment when his creativity, his human unpredictability, and his courage would be tested. Ziara's voice was steady. "Ethan, the fleet is entering our outer defenses. We will follow the plan we practiced, but remember, adaptability is key. You must think, act, and anticipate faster than any machine." The council members moved around him with precise efficiency, executing their assigned tasks. Holographic displays shifted constantly, showing enemy ships approaching in complex formations. He took a deep breath, recalling the simulations, the decoy strategies, the energy field manipulations. "Activate the decoy fleet," Ethan ordered, trying to keep his voice calm. "Use the holographic projections and energy signatures to mimic our defense units. Make the enemy think we are concentrated in the wrong locations." Holographic ships appeared, moving as if they were real. Energy signatures mimicked the actual defense units, confusing the approaching fleet. Ethan's pulse quickened as he watched the enemy respond. The ships shifted formations, reacting to the fake signals. It worked. For the first time, he felt a surge of confidence. His human intuition had created a momentary advantage. "Good," Ziara said softly, almost a whisper. "Now the next step. It's a small window, but if we succeed, it will break their formation and give us control of the battle." A concentrated beam of light shot through space, striking the cluster of enemy ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Ethan held his breath. Then, one by one, the ships faltered, their coordinated formation breaking apart. The Aurelians cheered softly, not loudly, but in relief and respect. "You did it," Ziara said, her eyes shining with pride. "Your human creativity saved the day. We need movement, unpredictability, a way to force them into mistakes. Using the planetary energy fields, we can bend their trajectory, make them think the space is stable when it's not. Some ships will collide or be forced to change course. It's risky, but it will disrupt their formation further." "I'll coordinate." "Ethan, your instincts are remarkable. You see patterns where we see rules. That is humanity's gift." A small group of enemy ships was attempting to flank the planet from below, aiming for the city's main energy hub. If they succeeded, Oralia's defenses would collapse. "They're heading for the hub," he shouted. "We need a diversion. I have an idea." "Explain." The drones drew the enemy away, giving Orlia's defenses time to strengthen. Ethan's heart pounded as he watched the outcome. Every decision, every action mattered, and he felt alive in a way he had never known. During a brief lull, Ziara approached him. "You are extraordinary, Ethan. Your actions today prove that humans are not just valuable, they are essential. You see the world in ways we cannot, and that is why you are here. But I know you will rise." He had never imagined he could make a difference on this scale. Yet here he was, standing in an alien command chamber, helping to save a planet. After the battle, the council convened to assess the damage and plan for the future. Ethan suggested several improvements to the defense systems, ways to enhance mobility and unpredictability further. The council members listened intently, clearly impressed. Ziara took him aside. "Ethan, today you showed what humans are capable of. Your creativity, courage, and quick thinking have earned you the respect of Oralia. But there is more to come. Your journey is far from over. I want to do whatever I can to protect this planet and its people." Ethan walked through the floating gardens, feeling the soft glow of the plants around him. He watched the Aurelians interacting, their society resilient and harmonious. And he realized something important. Humans had something unique to offer this world, and he was living proof. As night fell, Ethan returned to his chamber. He lay on the floating bed, staring at the softly glowing ceiling. He thought about Earth, about his ordinary life, and about the incredible journey that had brought him here. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and the unknown, and he had risen to the challenge. Somewhere in the quiet of the night, he felt a bond with Oralia growing stronger. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something larger, something meaningful. And for the first time in his life, he felt truly capable of making a difference. Sleep came slowly, filled with dreams of stars, distant worlds, and battles fought with courage and ingenuity. And as he slept, he felt the faint hope that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new chances to prove the value of humanity in a galaxy full of wonder. Ethan had started as a man waking up alone in a strange palace. Now he was a protector, a strategist, and a symbol of human ingenuity. The journey was far from over, but he faced it with confidence, courage, and a growing sense of purpose. And Oralia, with its beauty, wisdom, and trust in him, had become more than a planet. It had become home. The skies above Oralia were calm again. The dark shapes of the enemy fleet had vanished into distant space, leaving behind silence and soft light. Floating islands drifted gently, and the rivers of glowing energy flowed as they always had. To anyone watching from afar, it would seem as if nothing had happened. But for Ethan, everything had changed. He stood on the palace balcony beside Queen Ziara, looking out over the vast city. The people of Oralia moved below, returning to their daily lives, repairing small damages, helping one another, and restoring harmony. There was no panic, no fear, only quiet strength. Ethan felt a deep sense of relief mixed with something new belonging. "You saved this world," Ziara said softly. Ethan shook his head. "No, we did it together. I just thought differently." "You gave me the chance." He explained how humans often failed but learned quickly from those failures, how they adapted under pressure, how they survived not because they were perfect but because they kept trying. Leora nodded thoughtfully. "Your species embraces uncertainty instead of avoiding it. That is rare. We don't always have a choice." For the first time in centuries, Oralia's systems were being changed not because they were broken, but because they could become better. News of the victory spread beyond Oralia. Other civilizations began to send messages. Some were cautious. Some were curious. All wanted to understand how a peaceful world had pushed back a powerful threat without destruction or domination. Ziara invited Ethan to stand beside her during the first interstellar address. He felt nervous, but she gave him a reassuring look. "You speak for humanity," she said, "not as a ruler, as a representative of what you are." A place where people struggled, made mistakes, argued, failed, and still moved forward. He spoke about imagination, about hope, and about the ability to choose cooperation instead of fear. "We don't have all the answers," he said, "but we're good at asking new questions." Humanity was no longer unseen or underestimated. It was recognized. That night, Ethan walked alone through the floating gardens. The soft glow of the plants reflected on his face as he thought about his old life, his small apartment, his quiet routines, his loneliness. It felt like another lifetime. Ziara joined him, her presence gentle. "You have been offered many paths," she said. "Some councils wish you to return to Earth as an ambassador. Others wish you to remain here as part of Oralia's leadership. But when he looked back at Oralia, the people, the world, the purpose he had found, his answer became clear. I want to stay, he said. Not forever away from Earth, but here, this is where I can help most. This is where I belong right now. Then Oralia is honored. The marriage that had once confused and frightened him became something deeper. It was no longer just a symbol, it was a partnership. Ziara did not rule alone, and Ethan did not lead above others. Together they listened. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set, Ziara spoke quietly. Long ago we believed peace meant perfection, no conflict, no chaos. You have shown us that peace can also mean resilience. A simple transmission. People were listening, watching, learning. Humanity was looking outward with hope instead of fear. He stood on the balcony again, feeling the same soft light he had seen on his first day. Only now he understood it. He had not been chosen because he was special. He had been chosen because he was human. And in a galaxy filled with ancient powers, perfect systems, and rigid thinking, humanity's greatest strength had finally been seen. Not power, not weapons, but imagination, courage, and the will to stand up when everything said they should not. Ethan closed his eyes and breathed in the air of Oralia. He was no longer the man who slept alone. He was part of something greater. And the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again.